We got nothing to say. Some people got the right words and they're what we need to hear.
Very cute
Love
shoes.
it. Can you add your
retro.
always
Patches.
cute?
No, I didn't add the patches. They're just,
They're like
it
that?
just came like that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. I can
There's
tell
okay.
you would kill me. I can tell.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you girls ready?
Yes.
Are we going in? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Have you ever experienced the loss of a loved one, and how did it affect you, and how did you cope? So it's like a three-parter, the question.
I knew it was going to be something like that.
It had to be deep.
I guess I'll go first. I've experienced a lot of loss. I thought it was normal actually until I met because I thought that because it had happened to me so often.
Okay.
And I was really just around my family and my cousins and stuff, so we all were dealing with it with each other until I talked to one of my girlfriends, Atalia, and she's like, I've never lost someone. I was like, really? No one's died in your family? She's like, no, they're all alive. And I was like, whoa.
That's when you realize.
Yeah, but they were all older people in my family. It was when my stepdad, the man who raised me, died and it was just quick. He got an infection, doctor diagnosed him, and then he was dead within 48 hours, and he died at his mid-30s.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's scary.
yeah, that was scary. That I realized that this is real. You can lose someone like that. The others were quick, but they were just in their 80s or stuff like that.
How old were you?
That was 16 years ago.
Okay.
I was in my senior year.
Okay.
I was 17 when he died. And it fucked me up. It messed me up.
Okay.
Because he was healthy, he was there, he was my main cheerleader. He died. I lost that support line. And then I guess from there on out, the way that it changed me was that I didn't settle. And that's why I guess with my ex, I was like, I'm settling. I'm doing what everyone's telling me I should do, but you never know when you could just be gone. It could be tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I definitely don't want to live this life that I have on this planet with someone that I'm just settling with. It just made me more of a risk taker. People say now that girl, you're just out here just taking risks left and right. But the weird thing is that growing up, I was always the opposite of that.
Okay.
My family, when we go home, my husband's always shocked that they're like, oh, be safety, miss safety, Drea, this and that, whatever. But it's flipped me, changed me 100%.
Right. Because it made you realize that life is short.
He was yeah, and I guess now that I'm the age, around the age where he was when he died,
Right.
it's he was young.
It was very young.
You know? 30s.
30s.
He was young, and he died. And it was just
Shocking.
shocking.
Right.
And sometimes we're still in disbelief, that he's gone. We'll have oh no, I don't want to cry.
It's okay. Let it out.
We still the pictures and stuff like that. So I think my mom is still in denial. Even in the garage, because his place was in the garage, so his handprints are still there.
Okay.
So my mom sits in the garage.
His handprints are still in the
Yeah,
garage.
it's really weird actually that
Yeah.
his handprints are still there, and her chair faces the garage door where.
Yeah.
And people don't get it. They're like, "Why is your mom always in the garage?" And I'm like, "Cause she's looking at her
his
husband's
handprint.
handprints."
Oh my God. Go ahead, girl. It's
I
tough. Yes. How did you cope with that? Are you still learning to cope with it?
I'm still learning to cope with it. You don't really.
Right.
There's not really a way that I could and when people lose people and maybe I know them, maybe I don't really know them. I always say I get it. I understand what you're going through. Although it's weird to have some random person tell you that, because everyone says also it's very often on social media someone posts I lost my whatever.
Yeah.
And if it's their parent, I'm like, look, I've been there, so I never tell them that it's going to be easier because honestly, it doesn't get
It doesn't.
easier.
And
And like, and I
that's
hate it
how
when
I feel
people,
too.
for me, when people are like, it'll be okay. I'm like, I just lost my daddy. It's not going to be okay.
Yeah, it's
like,
never gonna be okay.
Your food
Yeah.
is not going to make it better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and the thing that sucked the most is that like they were there and then like a week later they were
They're
gone.
gone.
And that's when shit got real for me, was that a month or two later or a year later, like when I got my scholarship that he like helped me get, and like it's a full ride. I was like athlete of the year. I had like straight A's. Like you start remembering like I don't have that person to like talk to. And I remember I continuously had meltdowns. And my mom was like in depression and people were like disappeared. So I make a mental note and people think I'm weird, but like I'll go back and basically message those people again, like, hey, how are you doing? Just checking up on you, this and that, whatever. And that's when they actually, this happened recently. Random person, I was just like, I hope everything's okay. I followed up and she was like, you know what? I appreciate you reaching out to me. Shit's been hard. And she just went this long Instagram message. And I was like, see, it's just that one little thing where you're just like, you need someone to know that like you understand what they're going through. I also feel like it's given me like a bit of like issues that, you know, like, I don't know, like you don't want people to leave. You don't want you know, like that was he was my confidant. So, yeah.
Stuff.
I definitely relate to that. Like in terms of losing parents, because I lost my mother at a young age. I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And although she had been sick for a while, you know, usually people say it's a bit easier when it's like gradual because you can prepare yourself mentally. But I was a kid. So for me, I didn't think that meant like the end was coming. So for me, as a 10-year-old, it was still all of a sudden.
Yeah.
One day I had my mom there, and then the next I didn't, you know? And it took a long time for it to really hit me. And I feel like I really grieved the loss when I was older.
Right.
And then when I gave birth, when I had a kid, it's like I went through the loss all over again, you know, because like it's almost like I was reliving it. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm a mom now. And I'm like, wow, you know, if my mom was here, she'd be a grandmother. She would love her granddaughter. Like she'd be so into it and stuff. And like, and even my dad too, it affected him too. Like one day, my due date was like around the corner, and like we were preparing the house for the arrival of this baby, and it was like baby clothes, and he was helping me fold them, and he just started crying.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, because he was just like, oh my God, like your mom would like, she lived her life like for these moments, you know, like, and like that, so it was kind of like reopening an old wound, and like, you know, and then you come home with your baby and you're like, oh, you know, if my mom was here, I would ask her, what should I do and stuff like that. When I got married, I'm like, you know, usually that's the thing that mother and daughters bond on. So for me, every time I had like big life moments,
You thought about her.
I thought about her, and it would like hurt all over again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, people say time heals all things. I feel like that's one of those things
It
where
doesn't
it
heal.
doesn't.
No.
I feel like you learn to live with it. You learn to live with the loss, with the pain of it, and hopefully it makes you a stronger person. I do believe that experiencing that at such a young age made me a stronger, a tougher woman. But yeah, it still hurts. It just takes that one moment to like remember the person that you've lost, and then you're like right back there.
Yeah.
You know. And as a teenager, another thing is that I suffered alone, which I don't think was healthy, but at a time, because you know, you're a teenager, you want to blend in, you want to belong. So I never wanted to tell people and then feel bad for me. You know, I didn't want people to feel bad for me. So I never told anyone. So if I cried in private. And I don't think that was the healthiest
Right.
thing, but at the time, that's just how I coped with that.
Sometimes I wonder about my younger siblings. You know what I mean? Because they don't really. Deidre was your age. She was 10 when her dad died, and I feel like she's overcompensating. Deidre's my little sister now, and I sometimes I remember I was going to ask you about that before I went home for Thanksgiving. because I feel like they should have gone through proper counseling or something like
For
that.
sure.
You know, and then like Derek and Malachi, Malachi was 2 weeks old, Derek was 4, and they grew up without a father.
Right.
And they know that it was like a tragic thing that happened, this and that, whatever. And I just don't understand. Like, I wish there was a way that like that you could prevent something from happening to them emotionally in the future. Because like I knew him, like he raised me, but for them, I feel like sometimes there might be slight resentment to the fact that their own father didn't have a chance to raise them.
Right.
Right?
They're going to deal
I
with
see
it
what
as
you mean.
adults.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
When you're a
certain-
kid,
it's different.
The trauma, you block it out almost
Yeah.
to survive. So they're going to deal with it when they get older.
Yeah, and I just want to be like prepared as to like how to approach it or how to like help them cope with it.
But I think just asking them,
Yeah.
you know, asking them how they feel about it and just showing them that you are there if they want to speak to you about it is like probably the most you could do because at the end of the day they're going to process it the way they're going to process
Right.
it, you know.
Yeah, just
So-
encouraging them to talk about it. though.
exactly.
Or to
Yeah.
go to see a therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
They can't continue to block it off.
Right, and it does affect you like long term in different choices and stuff like that. And it's so weird because actually, my husband and I just had a conversation about that. Like, you know, we've been arguing about a few things and like the future, and I had to pause and say, like, look, I know sometimes I may seem like I'm overthinking and I'm over worrying, but I lost my mom at a young age, and I think about it all the time. I'm like, if I die today, is my daughter okay? Will she be taken care of? Are you going to be able to do this and do that? Unfortunately, even though I'm young and I'm healthy and everything, unfortunately, because of my background, this is something I think
Yeah.
of. You know, so
Yeah.
you need to understand that there's some fear in there.
Yeah.
You know, and I need you to reassure me that
It's all taken
it's
care
all
of.
taken care of and she's gonna
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah.
I think like that too.
You do.
Yeah.
I do.
really?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, when you experience death,
Right.
it makes you think like that. Like, oh, what if I'm not here? Is everything okay? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Have
think
you?
some have been morbid though.
Yeah. It's just happens.
It's just a reality, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that when you have to deal with it,
Yeah.
it becomes a reality.
Yeah,
It's
you-
no longer more. It's just like this actually.
This happens.
This happens. Like my dad was like so organized that to this day my mom has not had to work. Like he was so organized in all his he was like our age.
He planned.
Yeah,
And
he
he planned.
Yes.
And the fact that my mom has been 16 years and she hasn't had to work and like her house is there, everything's there, raising like 5 kids, and it's because he planned.
Right.
So like for
He
me,
planned
like
ahead.
I've seen kids who've lost people and their parents have lost everything because there weren't any planning. And then I've lived having like a dad plan for this to happen, and like my
It's
mom
amazing.
still being able to like live
Right.
off of that planning, right?
Have you guys experienced loss?
Well, I did too. Yeah, I did actually. It's very recent. I lost my dad this past June.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's
I'm so
okay.
soon.
Yeah, it's I didn't have this really close relationship with him, but this past few years we were getting there. You know what I'm saying? Like you're brought up with your dad. You're trying to understand what was he thinking. How come he split with my mom? I was trying to get all this missing puzzle. Like to
understand.
yeah, exactly, to understand what happened to my family and how come we just spread out.
Right.
He was in New York, I was here in Montreal with my mom, and we finally. But I'm happy because me and my sister, we lived our relationship with our dad completely differently. Where my sister was really pissed off. She was like, I don't want to have a relationship with him. He left, so his problem, right?
Yeah.
But growing up, I was like, I need a relationship. When I met my boyfriend, I was like, okay, I want my boyfriend to meet my dad. I want to have a relationship with him. I want, to know this man that is actually, because of him, I'm here, right?
He created you. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and it's funny because a lot of my boyfriend has a lot of my dad's qualities.
Okay.
So, and this past few years, he was coming to Montreal to see me. I was
made an
going down
effort.
to New.
Okay.
I did the effort. My sister, she didn't. So when he got sick, suddenly, boom.
So sad.
My sister, I think she feels really, really, really guilty about that.
That's a
I
tough
think there's a
one.
part, like he was calling her because he felt guilty of not
Yeah.
being alive. So he was trying to back on
with her.
track and whatever to have a relationship with us. But he was calling my sister, never answered. When he was calling me, I would always call, I answer, how are
Right.
you? I always tell him that I loved him, despite everything that happened, you know.
So you had let go. You
A
had let go
lot.
of the hurt.
You know what?
Yeah.
To forgive is the best gift you
Yeah.
can
Yes.
give yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about them. I think it's about us. And I did forgive my dad. And when I did that process, then boom,
It happened.
he got really sick. It's funny because when my mom called me, because my mom and my dad, they were still good friends.
Okay.
So
At least.
at least. And she called me to, your dad is sick, whatever. So got Montreal, okay, driving back all the way to New Jersey to see how he's doing. But he was so happy, and this is the last memory that I have of him because I live in Montreal. What do you want? I couldn't stay, the whole time over there, but I was doing back and forth like
Right.
that. You know what I'm saying? And then I was in Italy, and my
got the
phone
call.
rang.
Oh my gosh. And that's how you found out.
That's how I found out my dad passed away.
And how did you feel like?
Oh my God, I felt like my world was upside down. It's crazy how inside there's just a hole that keeps digging in, I find. I never felt that before, never. And I was like, oh my God, when I was young, I was like imagining my mom dying and my dad dying. It was two different things.
Right.
Like my mom getting depressing and my dad be okay, he died. It's fine, but no.
It affected you.
It affected me way more than I thought
Right.
it would,
Because you guys were building a relationship.
I was
Yeah,
barely.
it was like your second chance.
You could see it blossoming and stuff like that.
And after that, that was my really good friend getting married, and I was looking at her walking down the aisle with her dad, and I was like, oh, I wish she was like that
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
weddings are hard without parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. You get to. Thank you.
But what about you? You had to reconnect with him
Yeah.
before it happened,
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
because
least it ended on a good note.
because
Yeah.
really, the bonds that we have with people, even though they pass away, you still have.
That
They're still a
connection.
part of you.
Yeah.
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 You can still talk to them.
I do all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's tough because, sometimes I just see dad, because I'm just scrolling in the contacts and I see that cell and I'm like,
Yeah.
crap. I
Yeah.
wish
Yeah.
it was just like I could call him and hear his voice. We talk to them, of course, but it's not the same, right? But I know he's there somewhere.
He's looking at you.
You want a funny story? I went to Italy and my freaking laptop, because I'm a journalist, I work from everywhere.
Right.
My freaking laptop stopped working.
Oh no.
Okay, I had the two phones that I have here. Thank God. I transferred all my documents that I had, iCloud, whatever I did. That was on one of my phone, and I was working literally on my phones, guys. Okay, and I found out that my dad passed away. And the day I was coming back to Montreal, I was super down. The rest of my Italy trip was terrible. And I'm coming back to Montreal, I'm at the airport, I'm like, Dad, at least if you're okay, wherever you are, please let me know by my laptop if it works again,
Yeah.
yeah.
You were asking for a sign.
I was asking for a sign. It seems weird to say stuff like that, but I was like, because seriously, I went to two shops, one in France and one in Italy. The guy were like, nothing to do with your laptop. It's dead.
Okay.
It's dead. Yeah, I did. I went to two stores to make
Okay.
sure that was something up. I paid a
Right.
bunch of euros for that anyways. And get to the airport, my boyfriend decided just let me see the freaking laptop open.
No.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, he's okay.
surprised.
He's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh.
Yeah. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
Yeah,
message.
imagine.
You
Yeah,
got
it
your
was.
sign.
Yeah, exactly. It was my sign to tell, don't be sad. I'm gonna be fine. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That was
feel,
deep.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness. You know
my
what? I do feel like it just speaks to how short life is, and we got to make the best of it while we
Right.
still can,
Right.
and celebrate those small moments with
Yeah.
our loved ones whenever
Yeah,
we can.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
cheers to life.
Yeah.
Cheers to life.
How many
And to our loved ones, wherever they are.
need to check it.
I know. I did not expect that. I was like, oh.